Silence is also a means of reclaiming personal power. Many people are accustomed to seeking validation, attention, or control through others. And a wise woman understands that by remaining silent, she takes away the power these individuals may have over her. She does not feel the need to explain herself or seek approval. Instead, her silence becomes a declaration of her autonomy and self respect. She does not need to engage with every person or situation that comes her way, especially if doing so compromises her well being. Through silence, she establishes control over her own life and emotions, ensuring that she is not dictated by the demands or negativity of others. Ladies and gentlemen, today we explore a concept that resonates deeply in our journey of personal growth: the power of silence and the courage to let go. As we grow and evolve, we encounter many different types of people. Some contribute to our happiness, some teach us valuable lessons, and well, others drain us, confuse us, or pull us backward. A wise woman, in her pursuit of inner peace and progression, silently distances herself from certain types of people, not out of malice, but out of necessity. Let's discuss 5 such types of um, individuals that a wise woman will quietly remove from her life for the sake of her own growth and well-being. Um, a wise woman understands the profound importance of self-preservation, particularly when it comes to setting and maintaining boundaries. Boundaries in this context are not just physical limits, but emotional, mental, and even spiritual safeguards that help her protect her well-being. As we navigate through life, we interact with many people, some of whom may unintentionally impact our emotional energy, or even worse, drain us completely. This is where it is in recognizing these individuals and situations that a wise woman silently cuts off connections or distances herself from them. Self-preservation at its core is about maintaining a sense of balance and wholeness within oneself. In an increasingly fast-pacing and demanding world, it's easy to overlook our own needs while trying to fulfill the expectations of others. For a wise woman, however, this kind of neglect is unacceptable. She understands that her health, mental, emotional, and even physical, is her most valuable asset, and she takes intentional steps to protect it. A crucial part of self-preservation is recognizing that not all relationships are meant to last, and not all connections are worth nurturing. There are some people who, through their behavior, might subtly or overtly undermine her sense of peace. These individuals may be negative, critical, manipulative, or simply unkind. They may not always act with malice, but their impact on her emotional and mental state is undeniable. A wise woman recognizes when she is being negatively influenced by such people and takes action to protect herself, even if it means creating distance or quietly removing herself from those relationships. The process of setting boundaries is an act of self-love and respect. For example, a wise woman may recognize when certain friends or family members habitually bring stress, anxiety, or negativity into her life. While she may still care about these individuals, she understands that their presence in her life is no longer conducive to her emotional well-being. Rather than confronting these people aggressively or engaging in conflict, she may choose to set a clear boundary She might stop spending time with them, reduce communication, or engage in interactions with limits. Um, by doing this, she is not rejecting them as people, but simply protecting herself from further emotional harm. Um, Setting boundaries also allows a wise woman to prioritize her needs and goals. Often, people with unhealthy demands or expectations can divert her attention from the things that truly matter to her. This could be a coworker who constantly expects her to take on their responsibilities, or a friend who seeks constant validation and support without offering anything in return. In such situations, a wise woman calmly and thoughtfully distances herself from the source of this emotional drain, knowing that she has the right to protect her time, energy, and peace. Moreover, self preservation through boundaries also involves recognizing when personal growth requires letting go of certain connections. As we evolve, the relationships we once had may no longer align with our evolving values, goals, and aspirations. A wise woman understands that staying in relationships that no longer serve her growth can hold her back from reaching her full potential. While it can be painful to let go of relationships, she recognizes that it is a necessary step in her personal um, development. In summary, a wise woman's commitment to self preservation and the setting of boundaries is not about selfishness or indifference. It is an act of recognizing her worth and prioritizing her well being. By protecting herself from harmful influences and making conscious choices about the relationships she nurtures, she ensures that her emotional and mental resources remain intact, allowing her to continue thriving and evolving in a healthy, balanced way. Um, Emotional intelligence is an essential skill that allows individuals to understand, manage, and regulate their own emotions while also being empathetic toward others. A wise woman's ability to recognize and navigate emotions, both hers and others, is central to her decision-making process, particularly when it comes to identifying toxic or harmful relationships. Emotional intelligence is not just about feeling emotions. It is about understanding the impact those emotions have on her well-being and knowing how to protect herself from negative influences. A woman with emotional intelligence can identify behaviors that disrupt her peace, and she does so with both awareness and subtlety. This awareness of emotional dynamics allows her to cut off relationships that drain her, even if these individuals may not be outwardly malicious. A significant aspect of emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize patterns in people's behavior. People can sometimes disguise harmful behaviors as caring or as expressions of concern, but a wise woman can see through these facades. She understands that manipulative actions like guilt tripping, gaslighting, or passive aggressive behaviors are not acceptable. Even when someone may appear loving on the surface, a wise woman, in her wisdom, detects the underlying toxicity in their behavior. Emotional intelligence enables her to read between the lines, picking up on subtle cues in body language, tone of voice, or inconsistent actions that reveal an individual's true intentions. This ability to recognize harmful patterns also involves understanding how certain behaviors affect her. A wise woman doesn't ignore the signs of discomfort or unease. that arise when dealing with specific people. She pays attention to how she feels after spending time with someone, whether she feels drained, confused, or unappreciated. By tuning into her own emotional responses, she can detect when a person's presence is no longer conducive to her mental and emotional well being. It is not simply about whether someone is nice or mean. In a traditional sense, it's about whether their actions support or hinder her growth, peace, and emotional stability. For example, she might notice that after spending time with a particular individual, she feels exhausted, anxious, or worse about herself. This self awareness, which is a key component of emotional intelligence, helps her make the necessary decision to distance herself from that person without feeling guilty. Furthermore, emotional intelligence allows a wise woman to identify when a relationship has become emotionally manipulative. Some people may use tactics like playing the victim, shaming, or being overly demanding to manipulate others into doing things for them. A woman with high emotional intelligence can recognize when someone is subtly controlling her through emotional tactics, even if those tactics are not immediately obvious. In such cases, her emotional intelligence guides her in taking a step back, cutting off the person if necessary, and protecting her emotional boundaries. She understands that she has the right to say no to emotional manipulation and that prioritizing her own mental health is an act of self respect. In addition to recognizing harmful patterns, emotional intelligence also enables a wise woman to make decisions with emotional clarity. She knows when to act and when to step back. For instance, if someone in her life continually demonstrates behavior that is selfish, inconsiderate, or toxic, a wise woman knows when it is time to end the relationship or create boundaries to protect herself. She is able to assess the situation logically, emotionally, and pragmatically, understanding that her peace of mind and emotional well being are non negotiable. While she may have empathy and understanding for the other person's struggles or motivations, her emotional intelligence allows her to put her own health first and to take steps that safeguard her mental and emotional space. In essence, emotional intelligence empowers a wise woman to make decisions with confidence and clarity. It helps her understand that not every person or relationship will contribute positively to her life, and that some relationships, no matter how painful it may seem, must be let go of for her own peace and personal development. Emotional intelligence allows her to make these decisions without regret, knowing that cutting off negative influences is a necessary and wise choice in her journey toward emotional and mental well being. So, a wise woman understands the profound power of silence and how it can be a tool for empowerment, particularly when it comes to distancing herself from individuals who may be toxic, draining, or simply not in alignment with her values. Silence in this context is not merely the absence of words, but a deliberate, thoughtful decision to withdraw or disengage from situations that no longer serve her growth or well being. Um, Rather than confronting every issue head on or engaging in unnecessary drama, she chooses the quiet route to maintain her peace and protect her emotional energy. This approach allows her to assert control over her life in a way that is both graceful and effective. Um, the power of silence comes from its ability to create space for reflection, for emotional clarity, and for the preservation of personal energy. When faced with toxic or unbalanced relationships, a wise woman recognizes that silence is often a more powerful response than confrontation. Instead of engaging in arguments or trying to change someone's behavior, which can be exhausting and counterproductive, she withdraws. This act of choosing silence over conflict isn't an expression of passivity or weakness. Rather, it is a reflection of her strength and self awareness. By remaining silent, she denies her energy to negativity and frees herself from the emotional turmoil that conflict often brings. Moreover, silence allows a wise woman to maintain her composure and inner peace. There is often a temptation to respond to criticism, judgment, or toxic behaviors with words, with explanations, or with attempts to justify herself. However, a wise woman knows that some people are simply not open to change or understanding. She recognizes that no matter how eloquently she expresses herself, it may fall on deaf ears. Therefore, she chooses silence as a way to protect her mental and emotional space from further harm. Silence can be a shield, a means of preventing herself from being pulled into unnecessary emotional battles that serve no purpose other than to drain her energy. This strategic silence also allows her to observe situations with greater clarity. By stepping back and not immediately reacting, she gives herself the space to evaluate the situation and understand her feelings. Often, when we are caught up in a conflict or emotional whirlwind, our judgment can become clouded by frustration or anger. In these moments, a wise woman knows that taking a pause and choosing silence can provide the emotional distance needed to make thoughtful decisions. This pause not only protects her from rash decisions, but also empowers her to choose a response that aligns with her values and long term goals. In addition, the wise woman's silence serves as a form of boundary setting. People may test or push her limits, demanding more of her time, energy, or emotional investment than she is willing to give. Rather than engaging in lengthy discussions or trying to explain why she cannot meet their demands, a wise woman lets her silence speak for itself. It becomes a clear, nonverbal indicator that her boundaries are firm and that she will not engage in a way that compromises her peace. Silence in this regard can be a gentle but powerful way to say, I will not tolerate this behavior without the need for confrontation or conflict. And silence is also a means of reclaiming personal power. Many people are accustomed to seeking validation, attention, or control through others. And a wise woman understands that by remaining silent, she takes away the power these individuals may have over her. She does not feel the need to explain herself, justify her actions, or seek approval. Instead, her silence becomes a declaration of her autonomy and self respect. She does not need to engage with every person or situation that comes her way, especially if doing so compromises her well being. Through silence, she establishes control over her own life and emotions, ensuring that she is not dictated by the demands or negativity of others. In essence, the silence that a wise woman chooses is not about withdrawing in fear or retreating from challenges, but rather about preserving her peace, protecting her boundaries, and empowering herself. Um, it is a reflection of her ability to prioritize her mental and emotional well-being over the drama, conflict, and negativity that might otherwise pull her in. In this way, silence becomes a powerful and deliberate choice that allows her to live a life of purpose, clarity, and peace without being dragged into the chaos of others' emotional turmoil.